Hey, Brandon with All Clean SoftWash here, and I'm up on this roof, and I wanted to show you this roof in particular because we have 3 different species of moss. You may not know this, but in the Northwest there's actually hundreds of different species of moss that grow on here, and there's a lot of confusion kind of surrounding them. So I want to show you just 3 different types that we have growing up here. If you come in tight around here, you can go ahead and see we have this silvery moss right here. This moss actually appears to be dead, but it's not dead. This white appearance right here is actually just part of how the moss grows. And the difficult part about it is that it typically is very, very dense, and it's resistant to a lot of heavy weathering, and it can often take a long time to weather off the roof after it's been killed. The other moss that we have going on is this green moss, which is actually a completely different species of moss, but it too is also very, very dense and has a very tight root system that grows in very deep into the shingles. This is different than the silver moss, but again, it takes a while for it to weather off the roof after it's been killed. The silver moss, you won't really notice it change colors after it's been killed, but this one you will. It will turn a whitish, yellowish color. And then the final species of moss that's up here that I wanted to show you is what we call leafy moss. And this leafy moss right here, it is just that. It is very, very leafy. And this has a lot lighter of a root system. It weathers off the roof very, very easily, very quickly off the roof, and it also just turns a really, really bright white color once it dies. So that's why with our process, we go through and we just broom off the bulk of the moss, and everything that's here. The nice thing is with the SoftWash solution that we use, it kills 100% of it all the way down to the roots, and this will just weather off on its own with just our normal Northwest weather. And it'll weather off over the course of about 3 to 6 months, which, considering the fact it took years to get the moss this bad, is really not all that long of a time period. It's a long-term solution to a long-term problem. And because we're killing it and treating it this way, the roof will actually stay cleaner for longer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep brooming this and have you watch as I remove this bulk of the moss. Okay, so we've broomed this roof of all the moss that's growing on here. You can see we didn't get 100% of it off, and we don't want to. If we were to be that aggressive, it would be very bad for the roof. You can see we have little small pieces that are actually stuck right here in the very, very middle. These root systems are dug in so much that trying to get those off of there would take so many of the granules with it. Our method that we did, it's kept all the granules intact. Up along the edges, they're still nice and intact. Up along these little edges, they're all nice and intact. And then places like this where the moss is growing, our liquid solution is gonna soak in there and kill it completely down to its roots so that it can weather off. So that's our standard process. And up next, I'll show you how we soft wash this roof and what the moss looks like after we've treated it with the SoftWash solution. The reason why we can't remove all the moss at the time of service is we can easily void the roof warranty. You know, here you're looking at about a $15,000 roof, and it would be such a shame for, just for the purpose of getting that instant removal of the moss, you voided this 30-year warranty on this roof. And so any amount of brushing to be able to remove all the moss, especially this denser shrub moss on here. Any amount of brushing that it takes to remove that removes so much of the granules that it causes damages that look like this. And you can see in these photos, the edges of the shingles have been completely frayed off because other companies have come in with wire metal brushes to brush off the moss. Because it's really the only thing that'll actually remove the moss is these wire metal brushes, and it just does so much damage. You know, moss takes years to start accumulating and growing up on the roof. It takes some time to also have it die and weather off on its own in a way that's safe and effective. And that's specifically the reason why asphalt roofing manufacturers call out to use specific solutions and not to pressure wash or do manual, brushing and scrubbing techniques that'll remove a lot of and dislodge those granules on the roof. So it's something to keep in mind whenever you hire a roof cleaning company, to make sure that you're using someone who's experienced and knowledge in removing moss of every different species and type up here in the Northwest. So give us a call at 503 All Clean. We'd love to come out and give you a free estimate and describe our process and why All Clean Soft Wash is the absolute best method to clean your roof.